Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Silver Faker, Shiny for the RB Talk Show. Excuse me. So you guys know me as a podcast host and a DJ and a commentator on the RB Talk Show. Apologize, y'all, just having hiccups and everything and stuff. And of course, it's changed the weather. But tonight, I got one of the most important interviews of tonight. I got a legendary rap icon, Father MC, that will be on the R&B Talk Show. Looking forward to it. For those who's been a fan of Father MC, he put out number one rap hits called "Treat Me Like How You Want to Be Treated," featuring Jodeci, number one debut single. Another number one was "I Do For You," featuring Blige, and that single went gold in March of 1991, and the list is on. So can't wait to talk about his history and everything and stuff in the business. And also, too, what, made him take a hiatus for the business and come right back and stuff like that. But I want to say this, too, before this show starts, we definitely got to stay, pray up, because we definitely lose a lot of people, what I'm saying? We definitely lose a lot of folks, and then not just that, people having mental breakdowns and everything. I went through those episodes and stuff like that, health wise, and mental, situation. But I'm all right. What I'm saying. But with that being said, man, so wait on Father MC to show up on the R&B Talk Show and stuff. And man, tonight we'll make 499 interviews that I've done. What I'm saying, so far. So man, it's crazy, man. So tomorrow night will be 500. So it'll be another milestone and everything. What I'm saying? And man, I tell you though, just it's not easy to, get that many interviews. What I'm saying? It's all about having, basically like who got the most followers and who got, who brings great content. What I'm saying? That's pretty much what it's all about and everything. She said, I'll check on him. Okay, cool. So, yeah, so big shout out to V's Vintage and stuff. She's going to check on, see if, where's Father MC at. And, so that way I can bring them on here and go from there. So, man, I'll tell you one thing, though, this time flying by quick. No lie on that one. That is no lie. And everything and stuff. But, let me see, man. But with that, I thought to myself, I said, man, here it is already made. May's around the corner. I mean, May's around the corner. I mean, here it is already made. Jules around the corner for Black Music Month. I can't wait to, when that month comes, I got some surprises, coming up on the way and everything and stuff, But I want to say this too, this has been on my mind for a minute, being on the internet and you have a platform and stuff, people will, try their best, try to put a dent on your name and say this, say that. They don't even know you, what I'm saying? They don't even know of you, just trying to make up whatever these so-called, okay, cool. And just to make it seem like, you are that bad guy, what I'm saying? And one thing about being Black, we always find ways to quick to throw each other on the bus. And I know a handful of people out there that does that, saying straight up. But yeah, just I was looking at my settings on my YouTube page, and was it just about 30 minutes ago, the RB Talk Show done cracked over 11,000 subscribers. Man, I appreciate to the new subscribers that has subscribed to his page, what I'm saying? And man, I tell you, man, to get that many subscribers, it ain't easy, man. It really ain't easy. What I'm saying? Because it's a hustle. I mean, there's some people I know that's been having a YouTube page longer than mine, and some of them still stuck at 100, 500. I just barely got 1,000, But like I said, it's about the content you post, and sometimes, people like stuff in a certain way. And ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Father MC.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, brother?
Man? All right.
Hey, good? Man, nothing much, man. Hey, my brother, man, dude, I want to give you your flowers, man. I tell you, man, because I've been a fan of yours, man, since I was about 9 years old, man. You know what I'm saying?
Heck, you make me feel old.
Yeah, man. Just want to say it's an honor to have you on the R&B talk show, man. But how's the weather where you at?
Man, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I'm in Cali and in Vegas.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm in both places. Just came back from Cali. Now I'm in Vegas. About to head back out to Cali in a minute.
Oh man, that's what's up, though, man. I remember, man. Did a hype with hip hop was all about substance, great lyrics. Say great records. Like everybody had a hit. Videos played on TV, people performing on Soul Train and other platforms and stuff. Because like at that time, man, like I had y'all cassette tapes. It was you, Public Enemy, was it Kid and Play?
Yep.
Oh, Quit Latifah, De La Soul, man. And back then, man, was like I liked everything, man. I didn't have like the most top favorite, man. It was like whenever I was in the mood, hey, I'm gonna play.
Right.
I'm playing, man. But I want to give you your flowers though because you were the first artist, to have a debut album, but also introduce Jodeci and Mary J. Blige, and both of them taking a risk to have both artists being featured, two #1 singles, man. So that's rare to see that.
On that album, I had three. I had Treat 'em, I had I'll Do For You, and I had Lisa Baby. And they all went #1. I was
#1,
just
yeah.
blessed. I was just blessed to just see the success, That's what that was, man. I tried something different. It worked. And
Yeah,
I got to thank God. It just worked. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like, how did you come with the album title Father's Day?
That was crazy because I remember they wanted the album to be called Anticipated, Most Anticipated, because I came from the street and I won a contest. So everybody kept asking for the album. But then when Andre switched it up and I switched up my style, we it was Father's Day was like around 5 or 6 months ahead, like coming. And he said, "Yo, we was walking." He said, what's the name of your album gonna be?" And I didn't even really give it that much thought. I just said, "Yo, Father's Day,"
Yeah.
and that's how it just came, Father's Day. It made sense. It made all the sense too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I never forget when I was a kid, and back then, you buy cassette tape, it came out with a poster and different stuff like that. And I
Wow.
remember back then, I was trying to figure out, like, dang, man, where can I put the poster in my window and fill up, got everybody all here and everything. My mom was like, boy, she said, like, you gonna mess around and have a wall. I swear, all this
And
stuff you be add on your
before
walls and everything.
before I made it, I had everybody's poster up too. So I get what you're saying. Right on, right on in Word Up magazine posters on the wall. Yeah, I had that. That was me too. Uh,
Yeah, man. I swear, man. That was been the good old days and stuff. Now, like with the leaders, like with the leader single, treat them like they want to be treated, which was the #1 rap single featuring Jodeci. Who'd you had in mind, to sing the background hooks for that song? Was it Jodeci? Was somebody else you had in mind?
We had Corey Rooney. He was the ex vice president of Sony. But before he got to Sony, he was my producer. Him and Prince Marky D. And his first record he produced besides myself was, I think, after me and in Uptown people, he went on to produce Mariah Carey, and then Tommy Mottola liked
Yeah,
him and Mark and gave him Soul Convention. But Mark, I mean, Corey was singing "Treat Him Like You Want to Be Treated" as we was just working on like getting the demo back in those days. We used to make demos, take it to the record company. If it got approved, it became a record. But we made the demo, and then next thing you know, Jodeci, Puff Diddy went and got Jodeci sung "Treat 'Em," and it was over. It was over right then and there. It was like, wow, big different record.
wow. Yeah, man. I tell you, man, because when I first saw the video on Rap City, I said, "This is a dope record." Then I kept seeing on it was on like Yo MTV Raps. Then it went like was it NBC Friday Night Videos. You hear in the car like you couldn't escape that song anywhere, but that song was like in your face. And as a kid, I was like, thinking as a neighbor, I said, "Well, this song's gonna be a hit." Thinking like a grown man, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. And man, now, like, what did that single do for you after it went #1?
That record took me around the world, man. That record, we didn't have the album done, So we had like 90 something remixes of Treat 'Em Like You Want to Be Treated, because radio
Wow.
kept wanting different, like they wanted something from Father, and we didn't have the album done. So I was on tour. I was on a promotional tour for 5 months. And then for the rest, for the like 12 months, I was just doing paid gigs, being on tour. Then they stopped it. And then we went and finished the album. And then we had the only song we had Treat 'Em, I Come Correct, and I'll Do For You. I'll Do For You was a record recorded with Dave Hollister. Dave Hollister was supposed to be I'll Do For You. But then Andre Harrell, God bless, he didn't want to chance it. So he had all the producers start doing remixes all over again. And then when Mark and Corey remixed I'll Do For You, we got Mary to just sing it, and we put the Cheryl Lynn, because I'll Do For You was a whole total different record. We was just doing that record was supposed to be the remix, the one Mary was on. I go to Andre's office, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna use this version as the single." I was like, "All right." And back then nobody knew Mary, nobody knew of a Dave Hollister, nobody, the world just knew a Jodeci because I put them out. So I was like, I carried the torch, man, for Uptown, with me putting the artists on, because Dre was a big leader in the piggyback rule. We're gonna piggyback off each other. And that was his brilliance, because me, Mary, and Jodeci stayed on tour. We stayed on tour. I mean, from all of my albums with Uptown, we stayed on tour. We go on tour. I make the album. We go on tour. That's why my album had every 2 years. My album came out, because we were on tour.
Yeah.
Mary had time to get her album together. It gave Jodeci enough time, and then it also gave enough time for the records to get hot. And once all of our records got hot, they just shipped us on tour. And I'm out touring already as it is anyway. And then they just shipped us on tour. And we do a year in the States, a year overseas, get the bag and come back, rework it again.
Wow. If I am mistaken, I think you birthed the hip hop soul vibe. I mean, the hip hop soul sound during the height of New Jack Swing.
Absolutely. I wanted to get something new, because everybody was in the mix of calling the girls, young ladies, the bitch, the bitch. They was calling girls bitches and all that, and it was cool for what they was doing, but it wasn't. I had to figure out a way to like, damn, all right, I'm not making records for the street. I'm making records. Dre want me to make commercial records, so I had to think about it. And once I got my niche, I was like, I'm going for it. And everybody said it was so testy, and you're gonna be, because in the streets in New York, I was known as a rap, like, let's go. And then Dre turned me to go this way to commercial, but he said, if you listen to me, I'm gonna make you a star. And I was just trying to make records like I'm here, I'm back, and they took me to dinner, and Dre said, I'll never forget, Bob Celestin said, you back from what? Would you rather a Bentley and a mansion, or would you rather live in the projects and have a Benz? I said, I want the Bentley and the mansion. He said, well, if you listen to Dre, you'll have it. So I never looked back, and I listened to Dre, and now I got like 2 of them. Now,
man, when you saw your face on the album cover, back there for the first time, what was kind of going through your head? Like, wow, man, like my voice gonna be all over the world, man.
It was a revelation, because I came in and I knew it was a change in hip hop. I knew I was a new face in hip hop. I knew my sound was going to take me everywhere else. That if I would have did the regular stuff I was doing, I would have had a record. People, the world would have probably heard of Father, but it wouldn't have been like, we wouldn't be talking right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Street records, and it would have been cool, but then I would have been, for the rest of my life, going to the 9 to 5.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I would have gave them that street album, I know that. I had I was courted by Dante Ross. He was popping back then. He was like the #1 hip hop A&R besides Puff was coming out. But Dante Ross was a white dude, but he was in power. He was the A&R for Tommy Boy, president over there at Tommy Boy. He offered me a deal, gave me a deal at Tommy Boy, a contract. He told me, wait a minute, he's leaving to go to what was it? Epic or Atlantic, whatever. He was going Elektra. He was going to be president over there at Elektra. And he told me just wait 6 months and he'll bring me over to Elektra with him. I couldn't wait 6 months. So, he gave me the contract and everything. But I just spoke to him a couple of months ago. And he told me, he said, man, I thank them so much for just believing in me. And he said, Father, man, I wanted that Father MC. That was that street dude. He said, but I couldn't make the records that Uptown made for you. I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I respect that. And I was like, wow. And he said, you did excellent where you was at. You made the right decision. And that was cool.
It's crazy how it's like your life story is read before you even know what's going to happen. It's like God already read, like what you supposed to take, where not to go in and stuff like that. So it's like everything happened for a reason, definitely not for a season and everything, and stuff. So at that time, travel the world, music videos and heavy rotation and stuff. You thought to yourself, like, okay, the first album man doing real well and everything, do what I thought. Like, I'm gonna hit them hard with the second album. So like with the second album, you put out Close to You in 1982. So what was your thought process of making an album around that time?
Again, I was making I done been around the world. I done seen everything, all the chicks, everything. Just bought mom's a house on the first album, bought all cars. So now I'm getting acclimated in. The second album, I never forget, I was going to get my hair cut in Far Rockaway. And I just bought my car and it was parked. I was going to the store to go get a picture. Like that, I had lowered them up in posters. And I was going to and it was near the subway station. And these guys I went to school with, I heard them talking. Like, yeah, the first one was luck. He ain't gonna do it again. Let's see if he do it again. So
Wow.
my haircut, I jumped in my car and I drove right to Uptown and said, Dre, I want to crash, stop the album that I'm making right now. And I want to start all over from scratch. And Dre was one thing about Dre, he always was with me to let me do what I wanted to do. And I thank the guys that was talking all of the BS because that's when I went and I shook the album up and that's when I turned it around. I switched the line of producers I was messing with. I put Eddie F from Heavy D and the Boys. I put him in the fold. I went and got all Dave Hall. I went and got I still have Mark and Corey because if it ain't broke, I didn't fix it. And I got different producers, and that's what Eddie F brought to the world, One Night Stand. I put intro on my second album before they even had a record out. I put intro on Close to You. That was the name of the album, the second album, Close to You. Was it Close to You? That's crazy. I got 3 albums. But I put intro on Close to You. I put like Dave Hall. I did a record called Affection. I put Kenny on a lot of records. Mary singing One Night Stand. I went back, got Mary. I went and got Jodeci with Mark and Corey for Everything's Gonna Be All Right. I just went and stayed grounded, like start getting all of these records.
Yeah, man, you hit a home run on that second album, man. You know what I'm saying? It is amazing though because that album led to a Soul Train nomination in 1993 at that time. So when you found it used to be a nominated, you thought to yourself like, wow, man, I never thought I'd be nominated for an award. So I think it's pretty awesome and stuff.
Man, it was incredible because I found out I was at my booking agent and they was telling me about the tours. Now it's getting to the point where Father gets to pick his own tour. So I get to go on my own tour.
Yeah.
I remember I was there Salt and Pepper, High Five Troop, Candyman, Tony, Father MC. That was the tour that they was booking me for, and that's the tour we went on. And they said, "Yo, we want you for your your own tour, Father." And then they said, I remember when Mark Cheatham, now he's at CAA, he's the president over there. They he came back in the room like he saw a ghost. I said, "What's up?" He said, "Yo, you just got nominated like 4 times." I said, "And you're giving Michael Jackson, you're giving," and then I was the rapper to give Michael Jackson. Me and Silk was the art. I was the artist, the rapper, and they were the R&B group to give Michael Jackson to present to him an award, on the Soul Train. And when he said you got nominated 4 times, I was like, really? I didn't even know, but I didn't even know how to take it. Like I just was like, okay, cool, let's go, let's get it.
Man, that's huge, man. I mean, just to be in a category with the king of pop, man. I mean, it's like it's one thing you say, "Oh man, I'm nominated with this person," but we talk about like the royalty status. You made it when you're in that category. At the end of the day, nobody can take it from you.
Well, you got to understand. Once I gave Michael Jackson that award, his managers came and got me, Frank DeLeo, and if you look on the album, it says managed by Frank DeLeo because they came and then they started managing me.
Wow.
Michael manager started managing me. Yeah,
man. R.I.P. to Frank DeLeo, man. Like one of the best managers in the game, man. You want something done, he'll get it for you.
Yeah, Frank DeLeo was no joke. Steve Lucas worked, but Frank DeLeo was no joke. They I started learning the business aspect because I kept seeing the way they moved and how they was doing stuff.
Wow. Man, it's crazy how that happens, sitting overnight and stuff like that. Now, correct me on this. Was you part of the MTV Unplugged with the rest of Uptown artists?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because I had to think about because it's been so long. It's like a blur to me.
Yeah, I just was watching that. That's crazy. I was just watching that.
Yeah, because that's funny, man. Because like here it is, like during the height of y'all success, of your albums and everything, and I think y'all was the first all black all-star roster, man. I think that MTV Unplugged out with platinum or gold or something like that.
Double platinum. I performed One Night Stand, and then I performed Pimp or Die from the soundtrack. And then we did all of us did a medley. Me, Heavy D, Mary J, Jodeci, who else? Wait, Christopher Williams. We did Uptown's Kicking It on there. The single One Night Stand went double platinum on from the MTV Unplugged.
Oh man, that's huge, man. And to this day, what I'm saying, people still talk about that. Like no offense, artists. I mean, don't get me wrong, MTV Unplugged had that moments, but it's like y'all pretty much like laid out the foundation. You know what I'm saying? I don't think nobody got a chance to really pick that up since then.
Uptown was the label that everybody wanted to be on. Like it was like with Motown back in the day. I can imagine how. I mean, people used to literally, when I go to Uptown Records, man, people would be sleeping outside trying to get in, artists from all over. And I'd ask them all the time, where y'all from? And I've met people from Alaska. I met people from London, like sleeping outside. I'm like, what? Like, that's how real it was. It was like crazy.
Damn. Man, I could just imagine, man. Just try to be heard, man. You just pray that somebody will sign you in and stuff, man. That's dedication, man. Yeah, that's dedication right there and stuff. In 1993, you put out the last album from Uptown was called "Sex Is Long." And what was your mind state at that time dropping your third record?
Listen, after selling all of these records, I was like, and being on the road, I went and got Teddy Riley. I went and got Teddy to produce. So when I went and got Teddy, I said, yo, I'm changing it up a little bit. And I didn't like 69. I didn't like the beat at first, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I remember Teddy, we all went to the beach, Hampton, Virginia. We was at the beach and they had all the water skis and all of that. And next thing you know, he said, my last day there was to write the record. I'm writing on all I'm seeing is these girls in bikinis, and they all having a blast. And they said, right, what come to your mind? So I want to hit you with a 69. Yeah, I got.
Wow.
I thought that I did not know that was going to be the lead single from the album, and I didn't know it was going to do so well. But I was just making it like, all right, well, at least I got a record with Teddy. All right, whatever. Then next thing you know, they started to see Teddy do his magic in the studio, and all I had to do was rap. I was like, I'm done. This record is gone. When I heard the record, I get this guy's brilliance. I get it. I get it.
Wow. Yeah, because I tell you, it's one of the type of songs, it's like, damn, it's a gamble. When you hear it, like, man, people love it. It's like, hey, man, like, it's like if the really broke, don't fix it.
Right?
You know.
Teddy's amazing anyway. He's an amazing person. He's done a lot. He's done everything for everybody. And I thought to have him in my company, my budgets was big enough back then to get him. I was like, I'm going for it.
Yeah, absolutely, and stuff. Like they're like during like the mid-90s, it's like Uptown was going through a lot of changes and stuff like that. Andre going to Motown and Heavy D was taking over and stuff. What was your mindset? You was like, man, should I stick around? Like, nah, man, like if I stick around, then man, I might flop or whatever's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I wasn't worried about flopping. I was selling too many records at the time. So I already established my fan base. I was cool. I was supposed to take over Uptown. Andre was having Russell Simmons, and Andre, they had me going to Brooklyn College. They was preparing me to become a CEO. And
Wow.
my name of my record company was going to be Top Dog Records because Uptown, it was going to be Top Dog Records. I was going to be a subsidiary. I'm going to Brooklyn College every Sunday playing basketball with these cats where I could be doing anything. And then when Dre was getting ready, a week before Dre was about to hand over the transcripts to the lawyers and everything like that, God bless Heavy D, but I walked in the office, I knew something was wrong, and he's sitting in the office and he's like, yo, I apologize. I'm like, here we go. What, Dre? And he said, Heavy was his first artist. So he had to Heavy D. He had to. Which Heavy did his thing a little bit, God bless him, rest up Heavy. He did, he bought us Soul for Real, he bought us Monifa. So he did his little, but I had stuff coming. I had in the pipeline, I had stuff that was coming for real. Like, but it was a blessing because it all worked itself out. So that was my departure. I was like, you know what? And then he offered me a gig to come work in Motown because I told him I was going to go chill. My dad had just passed away. So I was like, you know what? I'm just getting ready to go and chill. I moved to Atlanta, and then I just had so much fun in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta. What I did, and that was the old Atlanta, not now Atlanta. I'm talking about back then.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I don't know what I did for 13, 14 years. I was just in Atlanta, waking up, being blessed every day, having a blast time of my life.
Yeah, man, you ain't lying about that, man, because
I
these days, man, ATL, man, you better pay attention if you know what I mean.
better pay attention. Take something home.
Stuff.
Got at home.
Man. Yeah, your song, man, Everything's Gonna Be All Right, still gets played to this day on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. And it didn't get played again. I was a Magic 101.3 FM in Louisville, Kentucky. And I tell you, man, every time I'm in the car, man, they'll play that song on two stations. Like I hear like Steve Harvey in the morning, then I hear it again in the evening, so whatever I'm doing and stuff. And they have like a chart list. And I say, it's dope when a record that could be 30-some years old and still whooping ass to this day, you know what I'm saying? And that's saying a lot.
All of my records is crazy because I'm still touring. I still tour. And I hear I just did Milwaukee. I just did the Adidas convention in Milwaukee. Crazy. Me and Mr. Cheeks from Lost Boys and Little Flip. We did that, sold that out like 17 to 18,000 people. Even in Detroit, me, Jodeci, and In Vogue. I just did D Nice in Baltimore for Preak Fest. And I just did I just did recently. New York Cipriani's, and that was for the hip hop museum that's opening up. You know, and that's
Oh,
where
oh wow.
donated $1 million that night. Fat Joe. I mean, everybody was there. Everybody was there. It was a black tie event. It was crazy, and you know, the Hip Hop Museum opens up in October of next year, but that's like months away. Like give
Yeah.
it 5, 6, 7 months, whatever. But October 29th, it opens up. And it's just been touring. Just been touring. I was blessed that Sony came and gave me a distribution, which, you know, being a CEO is different from being an artist because you get to grow
Yeah.
up, and now put out the artist you want. So it's been a ride. It's been a journey, and I'm blessed still to be being blessed by the best, man.
I don't like you being. I don't like you being an artist in this business for so many years. You know, if somebody said, "Well, I'm going independent '90s," wouldn't even make sense compared to it make more sense now than it did. You know, saying back then and stuff.
Well, still, you know, of course, if you go independent and you win real big. But a lot of artists don't realize going independent means you have to pay for everything up front. Everything. Like back in the day, you have to pay for the CD, the CD covers, everything. But so when you win because you paid for everything up front.
Mhm.
Get to get all of the money that's coming in because you done paid for stuff. You don't gotta returns or nothing like that. You done paid for it all. Where you get to a label, you get advances, they give you money, and then they pay for it all, but then they deduct. And then that's why they say artists don't recoup a lot if you don't sell no records. But if you catch a
Yeah.
hit, then they're gonna, so I would say, yeah, go independent if you could catch, you know,
Yeah.
if you could catch it and you got the money to back it and don't be afraid, I would say go independent all day. I would say go
Yeah.
independent if you got the money because you're gonna make a help. You don't have to do as much work to make as much money.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, so like, as long as you got that bag, man, I think that's all that matters and stuff.
Right.
Man, you know, it's crazy, man. You know, we was talking, and I said, man, I could imagine you. I could picture you, and LL Cool J. It was a Carrier. No, it was a Carriers one. I think it was somebody else. I said, man, like they ever did a song together, man, or whoever set it up. I said, man, that would be a monster, man. Or
We
even
just
just a tour.
rock the, we just did Rock the Bells in Jersey with LL, all of Uptown. We did Uptown. We did it was everybody you could imagine. It was crazy. It was like 40 acts on that bill.
Wow.
And me, Lost Boys, Christopher Williams, Albie Shore, Jeff Red, Monifa. I mean, all of us, the Uptown, when we had our section, we went and destroyed it. We killed it. And we like to say thanks to LL for putting that on. And from that, I'm developing a tour that's going out. It's called the Uptown Experience, where I'm bringing nothing but Uptown acts on the tour.
Wow.
We're going to go. The ones that are still here, you know,
Yeah. Oh, man, that's going to be a hot right there, man.
called the
Because,
Uptown Experience. We're working on that right now as we speak.
and, you know, it's amazing, though, because, you know, we think about record labels that was hot, like in the late 80s and early 90s, Uptown, MCA, Giant Records. And it's like y'all like the number one because everybody wanted to,
Yeah.
you know, step beyond it. I mean,
Question. No one was in
yeah,
our way. No one
yeah,
was in.
because I mean, like y'all was killing. It was like y'all guy, was it? Yeah, but Brandon Blige, Jodeci,
Albie Shore,
Heavy
Chris
D, the
Williams,
boys,
Jeff Red, Lost
Jeff
Boy,
Red.
Trail, Monifa, everybody.
Yeah, man, I think y'all probably got the most number one, even top 10 rap and R&B hits at that time, man,
Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah.
Where everybody else taking little breaks, hiatus, man, y'all would just rip it every year and stuff.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's funny, man. Nobody ever talks about this, but I mentioned about the 1993 Soul Train Awards. I said, damn, man, you, Jodeci, and Rachel Blige was all nominated around the same time.
Absolutely.
Nobody ever talked about that.
It was crazy because we all used to have so much fun on the road. It was crazy, you know. And that's why we
Yeah,
would still tour And when we see each other, we still bug out. We still ain't nothing changed.
Yeah, oh man, yeah, man. I tell you, it's a blessing. I can't wait for that tour comes, man, and looking forward to it, man, and stuff like that, man. But with that being said, brother, man, okay, got a tour on the way. Do you got any new music coming up?
I got the new. I owe them an album, so we're working on that right now. But I'm taking my time with it and having fun because I'm getting my artists out right now. EC
Oh,
Adam
okay.
about to drop finally, and we're shooting this video June 7th and 8th, and he's about to drop. And after I get him out the way, I got my female artists I'm working on out of New York, and then I'm gonna concentrate on. I'm still working on my album as we speak, but in the studio.
Yeah,
But it's more, let me get these guys out the way first, and then let me come to it. Because the
yeah,
road's
man.
busy enough. The road keeps me busy, occupied enough. Trust me.
Most definitely, man. Like you definitely deserve your flowers, man. I mean, for you to, because I tell you, man, I thought to myself, I said, man, if Jodeci and Rachel Blige was never discovered, man, I don't think we would have had the sound, man. Like if it was for you, you know what I'm saying? If it was for you, be like, you know what, let me go and take a chance on them and see where it goes from, man. You know what I'm saying? And we would never have a Jodeci or Rachel Blige if it wasn't for you, man. To be honest with you know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Number ones, man. That
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah. But
man. Shoot, but
shout out to the world, though. Definitely.
absolutely. Shoot. Man, with that being said, big shout out to Miss V Vintage for negotiating this interview and stuff. And man, like one of the best PRs in the game, you know what I'm saying? Big shout out to
Yeah.
the Queen. And thank you, my brother, man, for taking the time coming on here. And I tell her, say, I'm looking forward to this. You know what I'm saying? Like one of my, all-time favorite legendary rappers that came in, man, just like murdered everything he touched.
Man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Anytime. Where are you at? Where are you located?
Oh, yeah, I'm based in Louisville, Kentucky. Right now, I live in New Albany, Indiana right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
stuff, man. So I'll be back and forth and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll be outside. I know everybody kept saying it, though, but I'm going to get it together.
All right. Well, you take it easy. And if you need me, just hit me.
You got it, brother.
All right.
Man, with
Peace.
that being said, we out of here.
Peace.
All right, dude. Peace.